to order the meeting of the Parks Board for Lake Mills on this 8th of December, 2025. I'll go through the agenda list, and then we'll go back to the actual roll call. So first is the call to order, 2, roll call, 3, it's Parks and Forestry report. Drake, is that going to be you presenting that? And
There won't be much.
What's that?
There won't be much.
Okay. Parks Board minutes review and approval of the November 10th minutes. 5 is other public comments, including emails. And 6, new business. Discussion recommendations, the Commons Park Bandstand Gazebo status and repair program. Discussion revised Chapter 6 City of Lake Mills Comprehensive Outdoor Recreation Plan. Draft is included. C, discussion replacement of Faville Park volleyball courts with basketball courts. Bartel's traffic safety concerns, motorized vehicle access to Bartel's. Tree survey, Sandy Beach Park, sand migration mitigation at Bartel's, and city Christmas decorations. D, field trip to Tyranena Park. C, discussion adding water fountains and water bottle fillers to Wallace Park. F, discussion outdoor shower at Bartel's Beach. G, discussion ice ambassadors project on Rock Lake. 7 is announcements. 8, create a next meeting agenda. 9, next meeting is Monday, January 12th, 2026, and then we will adjourn. So, going back to the agenda roll call. Jacob, would you start, please?
Jacob Slobby, present.
Tim Sprecher, present.
Mary Schmager, present.
Anita Martin, present.
Mike Niesman, present.
All right, thank you. 3, Parks and Forestry report. Please, Drake.
Sure. The park staff has been very instrumental in assisting street staff, both in leaf pickup as we tried to get as much of the city done before the snowfall over the Thanksgiving weekend. We acknowledge we did not get to every street. The late leaf fall and early snowfall made it for a difficult leaf pickup season, which is similar to the experience other communities have had, if you followed any of them as well. If we do get a melt and it clears up, we will go back out and do leaf pickup and cleanup as best as we can. But obviously for now that has been suspended. Park staff have also been assisting in plowing when necessary for those that have CDLs or those who are able to go into pickup trucks for clearing of parking lots and other areas that they can utilize the pickup trucks for. Other than that, they're in their fall/winter tree service as well, so removals and trimming as need be. So they also did assist in getting Commons Park ready for the tree lighting ceremony. We had a little bit of a new aspect to that with Rotary serving soup in the park, so we were able to get an area cleared out with snow and set up some picnic tables near the gazebo to accommodate that. And I think I was at the event, and I think it was very well received, and it was a very well attended event that I think went really well. So if there's any questions, I will do my best.
Questions for Drake? Hearing none, we will move. Thank you, Drake. Moving forward to the item number 4, Parks Board minutes, review and approval of November 10th, 2025 minutes. Any updates?
I have a slight change to make on line number 8, section or number 2, updates. It would be Faville Park basketball situation instead of Tyranena Park.
Okay, thank you.
Slight amendment.
So number 8, recommendations for future agenda items. Number 2, it's Faville Park basketball, not Tyranena.
I thought I changed that. Okay, sorry. Okay.
All right, thank you. Any other questions, comments?
They look good to me as amended.
Do we have a motion to approve the Parks Board minutes as amended?
I make a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
All right, thank you, Nita. All right, the Parks Board minutes of November 10th have been amended and approved. Moving on
Well,
to,
we didn't actually vote.
oh, I'm sorry, thank
I mean,
you.
I think I'm
Yes, yes, yes.
predicting as you are. but
Yes, yes, thank you very much. So do we have your
That's a
vote?
strong.
Aye.
statement.
Aye,
Aye.
Aye.
thank you very much, Mike. The, moving on, other public comments, including emails. None? Anita?
Well, I know that we're not really planning to discuss Chapter 8 yet tonight, but a resident did talk to me about concerns regarding the the Glacial Drumlin State Trail crossing at Highway 89, and how that could be possibly changed to enhance visibility and that type of thing. So I'm just sharing that really in preparation for future discussions. Thank you.
Would that be a conversation that we would be having with the county? I'm not sure that that's a city, I mean, that could be just something we would ask,
County or the DOT?
yeah, because I don't
County
think
or
that's, so would that be something that our new parks leader would take on, like, as, from the city's perspective, or how does that, how do you get that?
Yeah, we'd have to
concern-
figure, we do have local jurisdiction on 89, but we still need permission to put up or change anything there. So, yeah, a new director would need to coordinate with either the county or DOT for any changes in that area.
Thank you.
Any others? There was a public comment regarding people getting notification from the Lowe's development regarding potential changes to the golf course. And so the public comment was they were surprised by it, and they asked me if I knew anything about it, being on the Parks Board, and I said I had not heard anything about it. They also made a comment, is that something that the city might buy? And I said, I had no idea, but I doubted it. And so anyway, that was the public comment. I think it was more of a surprise as the people that got the notes, and what the plans of the city was as far as keeping that an open space. So,
Tim, for what it's worth, I know that they'd been looking for buyers for quite some time and had no bites as far as running it as a golf course. So this is not a surprise, really.
yeah, that has been part of the deal for a number of years, so thank
There
you.
is the prospective buyers are holding a December 17th meeting of their own accord. That's not a city-sponsored meeting, but they will be having a meeting that the public is invited to on December 17th.
And if I remember, that's at the library? Or is
think
it
it's at the
downstairs?
I will have to
course.
double check.
I believe it's at the golf course.
I have heard that, I will find out and send out an email. I believe it's here.
They moved it because I think, received a lot of feedback, more people would be coming than they anticipated originally, so I believe they moved it here to this building.
That's my understanding.
That was my
But this is the-
understanding
This is
also.
the place that could accommodate the most people. So
Yeah.
I will confirm, but I believe it is at City Hall.
Okay. And the other question I had as far as the public comment regarding that is, are members of the city management going to be at said meeting?
I do not know if I will be able to attend yet. I have night meetings Monday through Wednesday this week, and then I have Plan Commission and City Council next week on Tuesday and Thursday. I may be, yeah, losing.
Well, and my intent is not to put you on the spot, but just that was asked, and I said, I don't know, and I just bring it up, so.
I believe that there are members of city staff who are planning to attend out of interest. I believe that there may be city council members in attendance. At this point, I don't know whether I will be in attendance, just because I'm so meeting heavy these next 2 weeks.
And if what I'm hearing by inference is that there will be no official city representation there.
It is not a city meeting.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Can I have one other question? Will that require a change in zoning?
It would, yes.
It would, okay.
Well, on pieces, on some of the parcels. There's one parcel that is zoned for residential development. It's 131 acres, so it's quite a lot, yeah.
Thank you. Mary?
I received a phone call regarding the Parks Board recommendations at Sandy Beach, supporting our recommendations, and they just wanted me to let me know, and I was going to mention in the announcements, but you all are welcome on Wednesday. The city council and staff are going to be having a working session on Sandy Beach, and one of our objectives is to walk through and make decisions on the recommendations that we brought forward as a board. So, but I did receive a phone call with support for the recommendations, and including some food and beverage service that was still of interest to this particular citizen.
Thank you, Mary. Now that's Wednesday the 10th,
Yeah, this Wednesday.
and at where and when again?
It's here in the chambers at 6 o'clock.
Okay, thank you very much.
And all our welcome, it will not be televised, I believe.
The work session would not be
It
televised.
would not be televised, but the public is everyone's invited to come and listen in if they desire.
So Mary, that the whole session is dedicated to
Sandy Beach, it's a Sandy Beach working session, yes.
Thank you. Anita, any other comments?
No, that's it, thank
Mike?
you.
All right, if not, let's move on to item number 6, new business. A, discussion, recommendations for Commons Park Bandstand, gazebo status and repair program. So, is there input to this? I have nothing.
What
It's-
one
needs
came
to be
from?
repaired?
I'm
we received-
understanding there was a roof issue and there was maybe some things that were degrading.
Yeah, we received some communication from the group that had participated in the refurbishment of the bandstand. It's something that the city will likely need to just incorporate into its capital improvement and maintenance plan in order to maintain. They were essentially informing us that there were some smaller projects that they may still be able to accomplish with existing funds, but that these larger items that will come up in the coming years, they won't be able to provide the financial support to get them done. So the city will need to incorporate them into its capital and maintenance improvement program. So it's on our radar, and we'll be sure to evaluate and include it as necessary in the future years and make those recommendations for the city council for inclusion in its budget.
All right, thank you. And I'm going to conjecture that the new staff person will also be involved in ongoing work with the project and costs and such. All right, thank you, Drake.
Excuse me, so we really don't have a recommendation. I think the person gave us that presentation, and it's going to go to the appropriate people, right? So okay.
That would be, yes, yeah. So we did the discussion part, no recommendation part.
Yeah, I mean, if there's items that come up through the years, they might make its way in front of this board, but at this point, I don't think there's any action you need to take.
Yeah, thank you. B, discussion and revise Chapter 6, City of Lake Mills Comprehensive Outdoor Plan, and we have that draft, 7 pages. Comments, I don't have mine, the document I have is not numbered, so I'm going to do that now. So page 1 is goals and land acquisition. 2 continues on with the park facilities. 3 is shared services is the top. 4 is strategies. 5 starts with 1, going from amenities. 6 is planning, and then 7 is some other items. So I think in the past, we've gone basically page by page, line by line, and unless someone objects to that, I think we can do the same. But this is, again, this is things we worked on last time, and now it's more a matter of approving the improvements, I guess. Mary, you made a comment or
Well, I
wanted
was going to offer, rather than going through it at that level of detail, could we just say, are there any edits, comments changes in page 1. Can we just go page by page rather than doing line by line in section?
That's a good
Because I
strategy.
saw there were a few call-outs that we had some placeholders for some things or some language that's not quite right that I know for sure we're going to have to
Yes.
figure out what we intended.
So
If we could do that just to,
Yes.
because we have other, I saw we have a lot of other little
Yep, no, that's a great,
ad
that's a,
hoc topics that were on the,
that's a great strategy.
okay.
So on 1, any updates, changes to page 1?
It just looks like maybe there's a grammatical or, a punctuation thing under goals, preserve the cities, city
is that be it?
apostrophe. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's just minor.
So we need a comment.
Yeah, but I can't edit this now. Why can't I edit? Okay.
All right, so thank
I'll
you.
just do it. Comma,
Any others? Thank you, Anita. I'm moving to page 2 then. I know there is a specific call out on page 2 on item, under park development, item number 3, consider and designate when possible locations for city-owned parks when preparing, and then official maps. What is needed in the document? What that's supposed to say? Anyone remember?
I'm looking it up.
You're gonna look it up, yeah.
While we're at it, I think that there's that apostrophe's missing throughout the document for cities, for
Yeah.
whatever reason.
okay, is it?
The area development
Bids.
plans is the missing.
Okay,
Okay,
so
we're-
we had two
Yeah.
conversations. So let's go with, did you get the note about all the apostrophes need to be corrected? Mary?
Yes, I think that must be a translation from whatever format we had in Word to whatever this is. Yeah, so I will make sure that that gets taken care of.
All right, wonderful, thank you. And then Jacob
The-
had the language for the comment.
The missing verbiage from the previous corp was area development plans.
When preparing area development plans is the language. All right, and what page is that from? Do you,
That is 65. from
page
the corp.
65?
Yes.
All right, in the corp. Thank you very much.
Area development plans, okay.
Yes. Is that an acronym, or can we just spell it all out?
I'll just spell it out. I don't think ADP is an acronym that I've seen anywhere.
Good,
So
all right.
spell it out.
Good. Any other comments on page 2? All right, if hearing none, let's move on to page number 3, which is shared services, preservation, subdivision review. All right. Hearing none, let's accept page 3 and move to page 4. Again, there is a called out under non-motorized and pedestrian facilities. It says to be determined motorized recreation such as scooters.
Well, we were talking about those would we, those bird scooters, and that was not, we kind of started discussing how do we capture what our intent is for things like that. Some of those, like Baltimore started with those or big cities, when you go to them, they have those bird things that are laying all over, people are throwing them in the water. I mean, it's, to me, not a beautiful thing for a city, especially a city of our size, but we didn't put our language in, we just put it as a placeholder. We found it to be a gap.
So is there anything that we want to add or just maybe push it to further discussion?
Well, for the corp, I got the outdoor recreation. I mean, we have some new scooter users. We did have them this fall. There were young people on scooters zipping around the city. And so are our citizens interested in it? Do we need to have safer infrastructure? Do we not want, I think we just need to figure out our perspective on it as it relates to a recreation tool, or recreation thing that kids are using. And I shouldn't say just kids, I've seen some, adults on them as well.
You might want to add, so number 7, evaluate and monitor usage of.
We could do that.
everything underneath
Where's
it.
number 7?
It's a
If there isn't,
strategy.
if you want to add to it as a whole, because it doesn't really fit in under non-motorized pedestrian
As a number
facilities.
7.
But then add is, consider or monitor and evaluate motorized scooters and other such items or vehicles or means of transportation.
But there was just a discussion regarding the use and the speed of e-bikes.
Same.
And reread that in most of Europe, the maximum speed, they translated to like 15 miles per hour. And some of these e-bikes can go up to 30. So there might be a discussion, if we're going to do that, we would limit the speed of motorized vehicles to 10 miles an hour or whatever.
It gets pretty broad, and you have to talk about parking, licensure, et cetera. I'm wondering if you just keep it generalized that, recognize increase in motorized, motorized non-cars, or just small motorized vehicles such as e-bikes and scooters, and prepare best usage or something, or?
And then we could put in parentheses, consider speed,
Yeah, i.e. speeds,
yes.
parking,
yeah,
licensure.
licensure, yeah, which I think would be good.
Yeah,
So
maybe-
monitor development of small motorized means of transportation, i.e. e.g. Scooters and
E-bikes.
and e-bikes,
Yeah.
and their various ramifications, i.e. licensure, parking, and speed limits.
Yeah,
That
and-
way, it's kind of broad, but it makes people kind
Yeah.
of think about it.
And I also, and I don't know if this is something we want to call out, but monitoring or enforcement, because if you have a rule, you have to have someone that will,
Kind of, yeah, you could, I mean, if you're saying speed limits, you're sort of implying that you're going to do that in parking, but sure.
You could say possible enforcement.
yeah, there you
Yeah,
go, I needed
okay.
something like that. So with that discussion, what verbiage are we agreeing to put? So one, I heard we're going to add it as an item number 7,
I think you kind of have
It's
to,
a
because it doesn't
strategy.
really fit in otherwise.
which is fine. And then, so what is the language of the added item number 7?
Well, here's what I heard Mike say. Recognize an increase in non-motorized vehicles such as e-scooters and e-bikes. And then I am needing a verb. Plan,
Evaluate and
and
monitor.
plan to monitor and evaluate speed, parking, and licensure, or,
ETC or whatever.
yeah.
Do we have an agreement on that update? Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Mike.
Although
Thank you,
I
Drake.
like IE and EG, those are two of my favorites, but okay, we can skip those.
Well,
I
see
know
if I
this
can't
might-
work
this
an
might be a
EG
shock
and
to
an
you, Mike.
IE in there.
But it's not all about you.
It is to me, Tim.
Okay, I understand.
Oh, mercy, okay.
All right, well, thank you for all that.
Any
So-
concerns on that, Drake? I mean, I don't know what your perspective is. I know this is the court, this is the recreation, so it's in between
Right.
it's between like a road safety, like a public works board-ish and a parks
streets.
piece. So do you have that perspective
I think
on-
e-bikes will certainly come up at some point in the future, especially if we expand our off-road bike trail network at any point in the future. The scooters, I think, when they're on the road, are more of a police issue at this point, just based on the speed at which they're able to go, the volume at which they are. It seems like sometimes every kid in my neighborhood has one now, and they go fast. And so I think that has to be evaluated. I don't know that we necessarily have any plans for specific recreational infrastructure to accommodate those types of uses, but I don't think there's anything wrong with noting that their usage is increasing, and it's something we're going to have to keep our eye on from a public safety or, operational perspective.
With that comment and insight, I'm wondering, rather than having this item added as number 7 under the non-motorized and pedestrian facilities, we would make it a separate bolded point saying motorized e-bikes, scooters, et cetera, as a bold, and then come up with some ideas underneath that.
Yeah, it would seem to merit its own.
Should the difference be self-propelled versus not self-propelled? Is that the line we draw?
I don't know how detailed you want to get on
Right,
it.
Because it's like there's so many, there's so many different options when you come to, like there's those wheel things, those big wheels that look like a skateboard, but it's one wheel, and it's like, I don't know if that belongs on the road or the sidewalk. And the bicycle's obviously self-propelled, but that's not supposed to be on a sidewalk. I think it's very hard to define.
Well, but I think if we just keep it as motorized, and then we could put in, but the IE or EGs for Mike. That, what Jacob just said, the big wheels, the e-bikes. I mean, there's so many different things, but I do think it'd be important for us to make sure that we call out that motorized.
Motorized, when I just call it, I'll create a bold, motorized recreation headline, like we have the non-motorized and pedestrian one.
Yeah.
And then what do we want our sentence to be in our strategy? Just can we recognize the increase and we're going to monitor it? That we can have just one strategy, but do we want to do a little like summary sentence?
I think that would be wise. And then we could include the things that have been brought up about the parking and the monitoring and such.
So are we going to continue, keep it under this chapter? Because under 6, there is a bicycle and pedestrian facilities. But it doesn't
Right,
fit
right, no,
under
that's,
there either.
what I'm proposing is that we just create a completely new,
Well, like,
bolded that
number
says,
9, a number 9 then,
no.
no?
No, so right now, under we have non-motorized pedestrian facilities. Now I'm gonna have to go back to 3 here. I think under this one, we're moving on to non-motorized and pedestrian facilities. And I think
I see.
what we're saying is everything, strategies 1 through 6 are fine.
Okay,
But what I'm proposing is that we add another bolded, then underneath that would have, as Mary commented, some sort of verbiage that says provide safe and convenient motorized access within this, in between city residential areas, schools, shopping areas, parks. Because I think we have to decide what could be shared and what has to be almost separate,
Yeah.
what has to be,
Yeah.
I mean, I think those are all things that have to be considered. And then as part of that, then we still keep up with the strategies, and then I think we just change the verbiage from whatever's there to talking about.
so it would be a different objective then? It would be an additional objective? under-
Yes,
Right,
different
okay.
category, yeah,
Okay.
yes.
Yes, thank you for the call out, Mike.
And under strategies, would we want to consider saying something like address emerging concerns over speeds? And,
Safety issues?
yeah, or something, right? Speeds
Yeah, use, speed, safety,
and,
new technologies. I mean, like Drake said, we don't even know what's going to become. There may be little hovercrafts. I don't know.
I think evaluation covers a lot of that.
Yeah.
You're just
Yeah.
evaluating the impact of
Yes,
these.
yeah, that's a great call.
okay.
Keep it general because we don't know what we
Evaluate, yeah.
are evaluating.
And if
Great
we
call.
could go back for a minute, because now that I look again on page 3, where, and maybe this isn't applicable, but where it says subdivision review, and it says coordinate subdivision review with all departments and boards to ensure adequate park facilities are provided. Do we want to say and maintained?
I think this is probably specific to a newly platted subdivision, which would typically then be dedicated to the city and incorporated by definition into our maintenance. But if you'd like to include that, there's nothing wrong with it.
No, I think that's a good, in this situation, I think that specific part, because that was, I think, a lot of times people want to donate things, and we got to say, well, that's fine, but we don't have the money to maintain it, aren't they?
Yeah.
So you're just adding and maintained after provided?
Yep.
Yes, on page 3.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anita. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Drake. So now going back to page 4. So we're going to have another objective regarding the motorized. I don't want the word facilities. What are we, what's our bolded?
Our bolded is monitor, our bolded is motorized. Hang on a minute, I gotta find where I have it here. Motorized recreation is what I
Okay,
heard.
yep.
Okay, wonderful. That's good.
That's the bold.
Yep, good. And then what is our,
Would motorized recreation include like four-wheelers or something? Should we say non-licensed motorized recreation? Would that,
It's probably more specific,
that,
but
I think if we could go with what Mike commented, if we give the example of,
such as e-scooters and e-bikes.
right, and the big wheels, I think, yeah.
one
Big
wheel or
wheel,
whatever?
Yes,
one wheel.
yeah. I mean, I don't,
Is that what it's called?
Well, I'll look it up.
Don't know.
I'll
It's,
search it.
it's called a one wheel.
One
It
wheel?
is called a one wheel? Okay.
One wheel?
And Mary, I apologize, I'm really not writing all this stuff down.
I got it.
Because I figure you got it.
I was going to type, I don't know why I'm not, it's just locked me out. I can't edit for some reason right at the moment, so I'm just taking notes and I'll edit when I get home.
When you
It's
first
no
open
biggie.
it up, sometimes it says at the top, enable editing.
Yeah,
I wasn't,
didn't
I
quite
wasn't
get
able to
that.
find it either when I was trying to bring it up, so I don't know
Yeah,
if
and
it's
I had,
something.
and I, yeah.
Is that an Apple or a,
This is the city's laptop.
is it PC, so they're not an
Yeah,
Apple? Well,
it's
then it
a
should
regular
work.
PC. I know, and it might be operator error, like I'm just not figuring it out really quick, but you know.
Well, and maybe
hey,
that's
this
something
is
we
like
can-
the old fashioned, you just gotta
yeah,
go with the
yeah.
paper and pen and just.
And a good old
you know,
pencil.
Not create,
And maybe that would be something for going forward, we can ask what's provided that we can, it's editable, so. Yeah, because when I got it, I tried to, and I thought, well, maybe all the things that Meredith said,
well,
old guy on the
I
computer.
thought I had typed something in when I first got in, and now I can't type over it, so I don't know.
Do you
Yeah,
want to
it's an operator.
contact the folks on that? You want me to? You want to just contact them directly?
I can take care
So,
of it.
yeah,
All right, thank
Because
you.
that
worry
would,
about
that
it.
would be nice.
Yeah, thank you. So going back to the topic, so what is our verbiage? Provide safe, or what, I think, Anita, you had it, what is it, our intent of this monitoring, and evaluating motorized
Maybe
recreation?
provide safe integration of such modes of transportation with existing park users or something?
Basically, I'd prefer to keep the verbiage very similar to the rest of the document, so.
You can say, I don't know, provide, well, that's how it goes. It goes monitor and update, da-da-da-da, whatever, and then it has, and then provide, and at least in 2 or 3 of the other ones.
Okay,
It
so,
talks about what the issue is, and it says, and provide.
right. So I think if what we're going to do is we're going to monitor and evaluate motorized conveyances, or small motorized conveyances, i.e. e-bikes, one-wheels, scooters.
Conveyance is a good one.
Yeah, because again, going back to Drake's comment, we don't know what's coming down the thing, so I think if we keep it pretty high level, and we can come back and look at this stuff too. I just want to make sure we're considering it.
so what I will, when I add this in, I'll highlight it all in yellow and we'll call it out, then we'll know that this is a new section and we'll take the yellow off once we've had a chance to review it. How does that work?
I think that works great.
Okay.
Do you want to send it, maybe to all, maybe, I do better when I read it and then think about it too. If you want to just send it to all of us
Yeah, I'll
Separate.
have, ask Lisa if she would mind doing that for us. That'd be great.
Wonderful. Thank you for that suggestion, Mary. All right, so that's page 4 with the additions. Any other comments on page 4? If not, let's move to page 5, and we have 2 areas that are called out. Under forestry, number 6, promote community outreach and then it has, Eric was going to fill that in. Do people remember what that was going to be?
I'm gonna go look, see if I have anything.
Might it have been education?
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I think that will do for now. Good, good, good. Fill in the X's,
The new
Anita,
Eric.
yes.
Thank you.
And thank you for being a wingman there, Derek. Thank you.
5,
Yeah, so, and education.
education, okay.
Wonderful, thank you. So we don't have to have Eric fill in, we had Anita fill in, so it just worked out quite well. Any other
Do
ones
you
on?
want to, do you want to apply for the job?
Here she has.
Oh, my gosh, no.
We're thinking.
Now, this is a complete aside, but I was listening to a webcast from the jobs. There are 57,000 jobs available in the state of Wisconsin right now, across,
Wow.
all areas, but, so, there's options for people. All right, anything else? Otherwise, let's move to page number 6. And this will, I think, be more for Mary and Drake under strategies, under the budgeting. It talks about strategies, use the 5-year park improvement schedule and action plan sections of the corp. So that's still what is the corp still a 5-year? I know we talked about,
That's 5.
okay. Do we need to call out that it's 2026 or anything like that? 2026 to 2011?
Yeah, we'll have to change that,
Yeah.
because, yeah.
Yeah, do we need to call that out specifically, that it's the next?
I mean, the whole document will be retitled to the new 5-year period, so I mean, I think everything within it will be implied to be the 2026 to 2030 comprehensive outdoor recreation plan.
So why don't we just put that in there, that it's 2026 to 2030, so.
Okay.
All right, any other comments on number 6? All right, moving to page number 7.
I have a question on page 7 regarding item number 5 that says, review the parkland dedication section of Title 11. To see if it, subdivision of the municipal code, is that something that we should call out of the court plan and actually add to our, add to either, is it staff's accountability, or would it be that would be is that a Parks Board action item? And why is it in the corp? That just caught me that it's it's a task and should we just be doing it rather than it being in the corp?
My guess is that it's probably always in the corp, just to make sure that
We don't forget it.
I guess I could envision, for example, if a planning grant became available, it's identified as something in the corp to look at your zoning code of, parkland dedication, so that it would be an eligible grant expense within it. I have not encountered any difficulties with the subdivision code and parkland dedication area of that ordinance, so I don't know that it's imminently needs to be looked at, but zoning and subdivision codes can be expensive to evaluate and amend, and so I'm guessing it's in there so that it would be an eligible grant item if some funding ever became available.
Is that something that we might want to add to this verbiage then? That's the reason that it's there, is that for grant approval or such?
I don't think you need to, because the main purpose of the corp is to be eligible for
Grants.
DNR grants.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Drake. Thank you, Mary.
So then we're just leaving it. That's what you're saying. It's good to have it there.
Yeah,
Okay.
it identifies it as something that we could, if we found an issue with it, that we could then, if funding was available, apply for.
Okay. Okay, that was my only question on that page.
Okay, thank you.
Is that it? Seven is it?
All right, so next steps on that one. So we've got discussed it, we revised it, and we'll just look at that again on the next agenda for final approval.
Yes.
All right,
Okay, so I'll put that under, okay.
yeah. Final approval of Chapter 6.
While we're on that, should I just also add, evaluate and discuss Chapter 8?
Yes.
Okay.
And I will be happy to bring, we had be the scribe of edits as we discuss them and link it up so we all can see. I think, didn't I have it hooked up to the computer or to the screen last time?
yes,
I'd be
I thought you
happy to
did.
do that at our next meeting on Chapter 8.
Wonderful, thank you.
Coming in on the 11th hour on this, is there not a Chapter 7? Or did you already get to Chapter 7?
There's a Chapter 7, but from my knowledge, it was pretty straight.
Oh, okay. It doesn't need any, okay. I was just checking.
Chapter 7 is titled Analysis of Existing Parks and Recreational Facilities. So this has the standards of parks. This is like, I think
Like an ASIC,
Oh,
Type
sure,
thing.
yeah, compliance with modern
yeah,
Yeah,
best
it-
practices, things like that.
yeah.
Okay.
Not really above our pay grade, I think.
it's kind of like consultantese a little
Sure.
bit, that part, yeah. Kind of like this, well, like your core stuff that would be outside of our
Yeah.
purview.
Makes sense.
We're trying to stay in our lane, Drake.
I just noticed we were skipping from 6 to 8, and I thought I was missing something.
Thank you. Yeah, you are missing, we're missing something.
My wife
then.
asked me the same thing. I said, well, I'll have to check on that.
And so maybe those are things to call out for, if people are reading this, that we could say, Chapter 7 purposely left as is because, or this is purposely left as is.
Well, I think
Yeah.
we should put that on chapters, like, there are quite a few chapters that are really supported by, like, a refresh out of the comprehensive plan on the population and those types of things that I believe the chapters we haven't, that are in here that we haven't discussed are really just refreshed through the comprehensive plan benchmarks or what, and projections, I think.
Yeah, like the background information.
Background and
Standards.
yes, and so I think that could be, that hopefully will be a quick refresh, just to update the information, but the ones that have action for the Parks Board are the ones, are 6 and 8, really.
Right,
And then
that was
9.
that was our,
And 9,
yes,
Maybe.
that's what we sort of kind of surmised.
yeah.
So thank you for the question, Drake, and thank you for the clarity.
So do you think maybe it would be helpful to put that in somehow or another into the minutes so if people are looking, they would have an understanding?
Yeah, I think you can just state Chapter 7 was deemed acceptable.
Okay, okay.
And going forward, we may look at the others and make a specific call out that we said that is not,
Okay,
that is beyond the scope of the Parks Board
Yeah.
charge.
okay.
If you'd like, I can just put all that in the minutes, the other, and denote the other chapters with some language, which we said, and if we can improve on it next meeting if you want, and then
Yeah,
it'll be
yeah,
done.
but I mean, Drake and these, they could speak to that, but. Right, but thank you for that clarity and for the question. Let's see, so Are we ready to move on to number 6, new business C, discussion, the replacement of the Faville Park volleyball courts and with basketball courts?
Yeah, I guess I'm sorry. I jumped right in.
That's just fine.
The first two items here, I did talk with a resident who contacted me about the Faville Park volleyball courts. I did send some information on standard sizing, things like that. And so I think we'll probably continue those conversations. I did note that there is nothing budgeted for it in the city's budget, so we would either need donations to cover the full cost of a project, or once we knew how much we anticipated receiving, would have to go to the city council and ask for funds during the year. So I am in touch with the interested residents that are interested in potentially participating in a project out there, and we will continue to see where that takes us. And then Bartel's traffic safety concerns is,
Drake, I just pause it right there. In that, we were provided with some information regarding the cost and the amount of money that people were willing to donate for the basketball court. Is that something we could ask to be attached to the next agenda, or so you or someone can speak to the costs? And
I don't know that I have firm costs on what it would cost. I know that there's been some idea of numbers tossed around from donations, but there's been no firm commitment.
okay,
I might be able to help out with, I think we're talking about the same citizen. We might be.
Most likely.
Okay, anyway, he's a general contractor at a local concrete company. He's also, he's my friend. His son and my son are great friends. We live in a similar neighborhood. So as a general contractor at this concrete company, he has said that he's willing to provide free labor. I am also willing to help. I have a little concrete background. He said he has free labor if we were to do this project. The company he works for has offered free equipment to do the project. All the city would have to buy is the concrete, the rebar, and the supplies. He estimates it would take about 2 days. He says the concrete costs about $16,000. The basketball hoops cost 4 to 5, depending on what exact hoops we need. So the city would need to find roughly $20,000 to create this. And he said it would take about 2 days for removal of the volleyball courts and then putting the concrete in the next day.
Yeah, the council would have to amend its capital budget to include it in its borrowing or take it out of a reserve. We won't have $20,000 for a project within the park in the existing operating budget.
okay. I just want to, I saw those figures and it wasn't included
And
here.
the
so-
Parks Board may have to also, you can make a basketball court out of concrete. Asphalt is the typical because of the impact on joints. When you talk to park planners, there's no prohibition on making a concrete basketball court, but the Parks Board would want to probably grapple with that piece of it.
And there might be other surfaces too that could be considered, but I think the most economical often is the asphalt.
Yeah, I think
Concrete.
asphalt's way cheaper.
Yeah.
Talking to this person, they said this is kind
Asphalt
of a
is cheaper,
general
you said?
idea. I assume asphalt is a lot cheaper.
So how do we move this along then, Drake? Because I think there's a certain time element. What's the next step for the city budget? Or to get that included?
Yeah, the budget's adopted, so we would probably need to confirm exactly how much private contributions were coming in, if there is a commitment that can be made. And then we would bring that to the Parks Board to make a recommendation to the city council on something if we wanted immediacy, as in, completing something next year. There is a grant program. It's through the Pat Connington Foundation. Those get evaluated, that we're past the window for next year, but it would be, I believe you have to apply by November. to be eligible, and that is for remediating or installing basketball courts. There's some examples of other communities in Wisconsin that have received a grant to build one as well. So depends on how quickly we want to move and what standard we want to build the basketball court to, and those types of things.
Also, the question is, do we need to do some vetting as to whether or not the people in that area want basketball versus getting rid of the volleyball? We have people that have a request for it, but I don't know if we really have community input as to, is this something that ward, or I don't know how it all works, but do we need to kind of do some sort of exploration of that process?
I just had a couple, so I can see that volleyball court from my house, and in 6 years, I've never seen one person play volleyball on it. There's no net. I don't think there's been a net for 3 years. I would like to figure out how we get a quote on asphalt. Is that something that the city would do, or should we try and figure out just to get a number for asphalt?
Yeah, I can
as
talk.
opposed to-
I can talk to some people to find.
Does the city do their own asphalt, or they subcontract out?
No,
Okay.
we contract out for asphalt pouring,
And I thank you for that.
but we do an
insight.
asphalt contract every year.
Okay.
Thank you, Drake. I did to that, but thank you for that insight, Drake. I think that's kind of stuff, when we got rid of the swing sets and stuff like that at the upper Tyranena Park, we monitored it for a while to see how many people used it, and it was like none. And it was costly, so we got rid, never had a complaint about not having the swing sets up on upper. So I think if that's the case, we maybe verify another person and say, there's a reason why the nets aren't up there. You know, there was no call for them. So I think those are just good justifications to go forward to something like basketball. But thank you for that input.
How
Yes,
close?
Mary. Oops, Mary, then.
No,
then
Mike was starting.
Just wonder how close the courts are. I mean, because basketball makes a noise. And is that going to be an issue? Again, I'd like to move this along because I get your sense of urgency.
Directly across the street from the volleyball court is Party Mart Liquor. From the court to the road, I would estimate it's 100 feet.
Okay.
The closest house, I'm guessing, is 150 feet.
Okay.
It was a guess. So I don't foresee it being a noise issue for anyone.
Okay.
I mean, it's recreation.
Yeah.
Yep.
So. Good. Mary?
So I'm a big fan of grants, and I know that we all probably like to see an improvement, like soon, like 2026 would be great, but I think if there's an opportunity for a grant, I think that is something that we really should consider to help the cost side of things. I mean, anytime that we can apply to get some support and help, I think it's always in our best interest. So if we miss the window, though, then that puts us off till next year, at least in part or in whole. I don't know what kind of dollar amounts this particular grant is that you're referring to, Drake. Is it, I don't know enough about that one, but I think that is something that I don't think we should, there's a sense of urgency, but if it's something that we could within a year have all part paid for through a grant, I think that is worth thinking seriously about.
Well, I guess this would be for Jacob. If your friend and you, if your interest dwindles with time, is 2028, like, our kids are too old, we're not, you know what I mean? There's two constrictions here.
Yeah, this person, I think our goal is to play basketball with our kids, and our kids are both 10. So once 8 years down the road, I think we're going to be less inclined to want to.
No, but so this would be 2 years down the road.
2 years down the road, I think is definitely but I
Or
mean,
one.
parents
I
are still
I
going
don't
to.
know.
Well, it couldn't be 2027 if you can't apply
Yeah,
till
but yeah.
November of next year.
Yeah.
By definition, it
That's-
wouldn't be
that's
till
fair.
2028.
Yeah.
Well, and
Year and a half. Yeah.
this is a question of, for basketball, if you have we used to play it in the haymow, and so if you have a surface and you have a basket, Mike remembers when we used peach baskets, but
Animal skins.
yeah. So, but my point is there a way that maybe we can keep the volleyball court surface and then put baskets temporarily, just so the kids can play and use this thing? And what is the cost of putting two baskets with, on either end of this area. As we, at least that's something that's done now, when the kids see some progress, and then look at all the other things we're talking about as far as capital outlay and such. But is this something that somebody'd be willing to donate 2 baskets to put at the end of this surface?
The surface is sand.
Yeah.
It's sand right now. It's
Oh.
a sand volleyball court,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, it's
Yeah.
sand.
Okay.
So I like how you're thinking. I like your thinking, but I think that ball's gonna have a hard time bouncing.
Well, let's put some water on that sand, and we could
Freeze it over right
freeze it
now.
over, and they'll just get them some skates. We'll have skate basketball.
There you go.
Give them some exercise. All right, thank you for the clarification. So, scratch that.
So I think the next step, Drake, you were gonna just understand the asphalt. And then I'm not sure how that, you have
Well, I'm
started a
sure-
conversation, so I think you.
Yeah, I'm
have
sure
it in your
asphalt
lap.
is cheaper, but is it cheaper compared to concrete with free labor, I guess would be the
Yeah,
comparison,
yeah, I don't know.
Well, just a little time it's a lot easier to fall down in asphalt compared to falling down on concrete, because it scrapes the living heck out of you, the concrete does. So I vote for asphalt.
Let's keep the sand.
Yeah, or keep sand, yeah. All right. But thank you for that. And so let's move on to the Bartle's traffic safety concerns. As a specific thing, that was what, speed, and we were talking about speed bumps, or what was the?
I actually believe it was the Parks Board made a referral to Public Works Board, so it's actually on their agenda tomorrow night as a referral from this board to begin conversations on evaluating and if they want to pursue any remedies.
Wonderful. All
So the
right.
Public Works Board will be taking.
Public Works Board tomorrow, is that here?
Yep,
At 7:30?
6 o'clock. Public Works Board is at 6 o'clock.
And that's open to the public as well, hence
Yep.
the term? Okay.
Yep, absolutely.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. Let's move on then to motorized vessel access. I think there's some verbiage in here, but so we're beach access to Bartles. And I know we got some information from the DNR and the city and the village and such as to what.
I don't know, the last I heard from Eric, because I asked him, was that, here's what he said. I did request a buoy from the township, and the next steps would be to have an in-ground anchor installed to attach the swim line to which is planned to be installed when construction happens on the seawall.
Can you send that to me? I'm not familiar with
Sure,
this one.
okay. So I guess then it sounds like there would be a buoy, and it'd be
Now, my understanding is buoys have to go, like, it has to get approved by
someone.
who?
I don't know.
Yeah, the
Once we're
DNR.
in the water, we don't have as much. So I was not familiar with this issue, so I will learn what I can. If you send me what he had last updated you on,
Sure.
I will learn what I can about it.
Because I made a presentation to the JRLC, and I wasn't sure where that was going, and then I called this township, because someone had told me it had been referred to their Parks Commission, and the township secretary said, well, that probably isn't the case, it's probably with the town board, so, as the French would say.
So JLRC is Joint
Rock Lake
Rock
Committee.
Lake Improvement Association.
No,
Joint
Joint
Rock
Rock
Lake
Lakes
Committee.
Committee.
Committee,
That's
all
a official board that is populated by both city and town residents.
Okay, wonderful. So that is there. So for our purposes then, that's going to be discussed at.
I'll send this to Drake, and I guess next would be to talk to the town board. I don't know.
Yeah, I will follow up and try to learn as much as I can about this one and
Okay.
get an update.
Because they're
back
going to have to be on board with it to,
I would believe so, but I'm
Yep.
not certain.
And I wondered, Drake, with that, it's calls out Bartles, but I'm going to say any city beach.
Well, we have the same issue we've talked about at Sandy Beach, and,
Right.
that was a part of our when we were talking about our recommendations that we're sending into city council, where we placed the motorized boat slips is important because we were trying to move as far away to make sure that we were actually meeting our own ordinance. I think we have an ordinance that says you have to stay 50 feet from a swim rope.
I think
You
it
can't
was
have a
50 feet,
motorized
yes.
boat. I think city has something in its ordinance, because we reviewed it together, that we are in violation of that with where we have our slips or current lifts placed. And so this subject of non-motorized getting to the beach, I know JRLC had it, or, because you brought it there, Mike, and so and they're also looking at now I believe on their agenda was a 200-foot radius, or 200,
That's
some
the
new,
200-foot no wake zone.
some new thing.
That's
For swimming.
but that would
Uniform.
require also new buoy markers, and so I think, that's why I learned the buoy marker thing has to be approved by a body bigger than just JRLC, I think.
The no wake zone, I don't think has to be buoy marked. Maybe.
Oh,
It
okay.
might help, but I don't know that.
Yeah, okay. I was just thinking,
So given Mary's comments and Mike's and Drake's, where does this go on our next?
I'm not sure I'll be able to have something for you by the next
Yeah.
Parks Board meeting.
Right.
I'll just put it on the agenda as a reminder.
Sure.
And I think it's important to remember, and Eric made this point, the big difference between Sandy and Bartles is Bartles was never intended as a motorized beach.
Yeah.
It is a swimming beach, period. Whereas Sandy and the other side, those are designated for motorboats. So I think that's important to keep in mind.
Absolutely. I think that should be captured.
and I think there was a comment that, when I was learning about, or I was hearing this conversation about the buoys themselves and then needing special approval, that you can't, because one of the alternatives that Eric had talked about was he was just gonna move the swim rope over to the north, if you will, and you can't then launch a kayak there, because you can't launch a kayak in the swim zone. And so I think so then a buoy marker came back up as a better solution. And so I think it's gone around just strategizing on how to address this concern.
Thank you.
But yeah, I think that's good, and we'll just determine where best options are. But I think the big thing for us is we'd like to either eliminate or very much minimize motorized access to Bartles Beach.
For
So,
safety, it was a
For
safety
safety and
concern.
all those, yes. All right, now, moving on then to the tree survey, Sandy Beach Park. This was about the health and next steps with said trees. Is that what this is all about?
I apologize, I'm not familiar with this project.
Okay. So push it off to another time?
Yeah, Eric had shared at several meetings that they were assessing whether some of the oaks down at Sandy Beach had oak wilt, or are there was some diagnostic that was going to happen, and it had to happen after,
Leaves
were
off, right?
no, it was in the summer, so they had to do it when they were healthy. And so we were expecting, I think as a board, I was expecting, like in August, September-ish timeframe, he was going to give we were looking for a report on that, and I don't know, he kept saying it's coming, didn't he?
Well, and I thought it was going to be that person that we had contracted with. I can't remember her name, but has her own company.
Arborist.
She's the arborist that has her own company, that the city had paid her to do this assessment. And so that's what I remember. It just got put, because she wasn't ready for it or got pushed off.
I'll
But
check with our arborist.
Yeah, but she's an outside person,
Right, but
yes, but.
perhaps Andrew has more insight than I
Yeah,
do.
yeah. But yeah, that's what that is, and all the things that Mary just says, more about health and next steps and what you can preserve and given all the different plans. The sand migration mitigation at Bartles. This was about the silting and,
So I asked for this to be on the agenda just so I could provide an update that when we were reviewing, the city council was looking at the new wall, the Sandy, or the Bartles Beach wall.
Seawall,
repair,
whatever they're
seawall
called.
repair.
Yes.
The sand migration mitigation thing that Eric had been talking about over the course of the last year and a half, that he was saying they were gonna try to figure out a way to do it, was not addressed. And so just to let you know, and this was coming off of the Mill Pond conversation, if you all recall, and so I just wanted to make sure everyone was aware that the sand migration block or the riprap or whatever he was suggesting they were gonna do when they were fixing the wall is not in scope. It did not get in scope. It was not addressed. So I just wanted, it's just an update to let you know that that was to prevent the Mill Pond channel, that channel going to the Mill Pond to have to be dredged as frequently when we were talking about the Mill Pond.
So Mary, that means that we just basically drop it then, because it's not in the project?
It's not
Okay.
being addressed by the current seawall repair. And so that will be something that if that is important for continuation, Drake and the team will have to figure out an alternative on how to get after that. And my thoughts are, I believe as we think about Sandy Beach, and that's got a lot more sand down there, and I know there's a lot of migration. Eric put in some measures of heavier grain sand, less sand, that I feel when we talk about Sandy Beach and think about if we make that beach bigger, or whatever happens to that beach and how we manage it, then we'll learn about if we put a boardwalk or we need mitigation. I think we should ask if it applies at Bartels, Bartels, and then do a kind of a 2-for-1 on the concept. I think through both of those rather than taking on Bartels as a separate, and then, because I think Sandy Beach has got, I know we've got migration, we've got it, and so I think we can learn from the Sandy Beach project and apply it here is all I'm saying, because we missed it in the scope for this one, unless you think differently, Drake.
No, I intend in 26 to sit down with our engineers and learn more about what options there might be for this issue. This wasn't something that I was familiar with that was a goal of the project, and so it was a little bit of a surprise for me. So I intend to sit down with the engineering team and look at dedicated solutions that we can bring forward to Parks Board, Public Works Board for a recommendation and possible inclusion in a future capital improvement plan.
And Drake, I believe that Eric had some anecdotal observation that it seemed that the heavier grade or granular size of this beach sand was helping with the drift. But I don't know if there was any empirical research done as to how much and if that was true.
I think it was based off of not needing to bring more sand as frequently, but I'm not sure.
I think it was actually both. It would be less migration with coarser, heavier kernels, but also not applying it every year as it had been, but bring it in. He had the numbers cutting substantially down.
And then it goes back to, is there someone monitoring, to Mary's comment, the access channel there at Ferry Drive to the Mill Pond? 'Cause I think all those things that we want to make sure there's access and not waste and not, that, so.
But it does sound like something that's been discussed relatively frequently and identified as a priority, so we'll put some work into finding out what options exist at both beaches, and other communities that manage beaches, I'm sure, have grappled with this as well. And so that is something that is on my radar for 26.
For what it's worth, I would imagine the DNR has some people who are familiar with this issue as well.
And maybe Patricia Cicero and the other, people in the county.
Yeah, the one thing that would be interesting if there are others that are running into this, we happen to have the dam, which does make a natural water flow, which is different than if you're all contained. So if you don't have a dam, you kind of it's more stagnant. I wonder, they might have different issues, but it'll be very interesting to see how others have. Just as an aside, there was a beach, I was on a trip recently, this past summer, and instead of it being sand, it was little black pebbles, like small pebbles. Really interesting. I thought it was going to be really hard on your feet, you'd think, but it was It was sandy. I don't know, it was really different. I thought, there we go, that wouldn't migrate very fast. No, you can't. But it was really interesting. I said, gosh, is this our solution? Do you have to go to a really big
Well, is that
pebble?
something you could maybe provide to Drake as to where this was, so we could do some, see
Yeah.
if, what it costs and, because a lot of it is transportation where your cost comes.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Hope Oostet made a comment that has me, like, really resonated regarding, no, we are changing this natural body of water when we're putting sand, putting sand in, manually adding sand, and it's then floating out, and it is changing this natural asset. So it's kind of like, I don't know if adding black rock is the right thing to do, but it just was like, the heavy sand was an interesting, do we need to go heavier? And I don't know. I'm not an expert in this space, but
Well, no, it's good to bring it up, and we will talk about it another time. So, yes, Anita?
I think that Susan Trier with Rock Lake Improvement Association had done some information searching on the sand migration. She may have some information to share.
Good, thank you. Yeah, the more information, the more we can make a,
who is that?
Susan
Susan Trier.
Trier with Rock Lake Improvement Association.
yeah, there's lots of information, so if we can coalesce it, that'd be great. All right, if we can move to the next one, city Christmas decorations.
They look great.
They look great.
Here.
Any other, I think we've kind of gotten Santa in the right place, and haven't heard any comments about Santa.
Didn't Hope have some questions on that? She wants, or am I conflating that
I think
with
it was
something
more,
else?
that was, they wanted them to go out at a certain time.
Okay.
And it was not to be based on when the city could get to it. They wanted it decided they had to be the first weekend or the weekend of Thanksgiving, something to that effect. Drake is nodding his head and affirming. Is
We met
any
the
other-
dates. We accomplished those dates this year.
Good, yeah.
Good. Thank you.
And is that something, how often are those things procured and repaired and whatever?
I can find out for you.
I just wonder because they look really good, but I know they don't last forever.
I have a question on that. Do we have a plan if Hope decides that she doesn't want to do this anymore? Because isn't this all kind of just the goodness of her heart? Because there's a lot of stuff that she just volunteers to do. Like, do we have a backup if she's like, just don't want to do this?
You're talking about the planters
Well,
specifically?
Hope, like, she's hanging the garland and lights around the gazebo, and, she does an incredible amount of volunteer work. And I think if she just said, I don't really feel like doing this, then we're kind of in a bind. Do we have a backup if she ever says those words?
Well, I think that's a very good insight, Jacob, and I think we might ask Hope if she could give us an idea of how many people hours are into this. So if she were to not be able to do it anymore, I think the city, as far as budgeting, would have to decide is how much hours are involved here, because those hours would have to be done either by volunteers, some sort of civic organization, or the city. So I do think if we could ask her if she could give us an idea of
Yeah.
hours.
Because I know she puts in an incredible amount of free
Yeah,
time.
but it's, for me to make decisions, you have to know, you have to be able to budget
Yeah.
how many people hours is this taking? And an awful lot of people don't put in, if you ask, a lot, a few. No, I need to know for budgeting, for planning, is it 100 hours of, people hours? And that's the other thing, Hope's been doing it for a long time, she probably has the system down.
Yeah, she organizes volunteers to help
We all
her
know
out
it
when
takes
she
a little
needs
while
it.
to get used to how it all goes, and all that has to be budgeted. Because people expect those, they are beautiful, they expect it to be beautiful. Mary, then Drake?
Well, I was gonna say perhaps or she may already have this, we could ask her if she would be open to writing up a procedure document, that outlines kind of all of the things that she does and the amount of time roughly, just as a guide, so that, if she has others that are helping her out, perhaps she has, I would say
Right.
if she's starting a next round of
Right.
people to continue on the tradition if she were to
Yeah.
step back, but maybe we could ask her to do something more formal in that regard so that we have it as a back pocket.
I mean, is that something that makes sense to you, Drake? As far as
Sure.
All right, thank you. So moving on, new business. D, field trip to Tyranena Park. And this was to look at the
April?
rebar, I'm sorry.
In April? I'm sorry, I was speaking out loud. In April, that was my outside voice.
So, yeah, I'll start out. Mary and I made a trip there earlier this year, kind of in fall, and we were just walking around. A lot of the paths have become relatively impassable. There is literally rebar poking straight up out of the ground that used to hold wood in place, but the wood has rotted away. If someone falls on it, it could be fatal, in the
right.
city. So if the city has rebar poking literally straight up out of the ground and someone fell on it like that,
Did you let anyone know?
yeah, like the last couple of meetings I've said it.
Talked about it a lot here.
Okay.
And Mary and I both witnessed it. And there's just a lot of stuff that kind of.
You happen to have a picture?
I don't. It is, there were steps going down to the water. It would be pretty much right in the middle of the park. It definitely held steps in at some point. The concrete steps have collapsed into the lake. There were a bunch of wood decks that were in place that have rotted away. There's a ton of undergrowth that makes the lake relatively hard to see.
Well, and going back to the safety issue of the rebar, I know from my own experience, there's rebar on the path that goes from basically where the lower restrooms are on the lower Tyranena, and there's a path that goes to the upper Tyranena, and it's a fairly steep path.
Yeah.
But I think on both sides, there is exposed rebar. And I know we talked about this when they were talking about the bicycle paths a number of years ago. So I'm a bit surprised that someone from the city hasn't gone there with a torch or a hacksaw and taken care of these. But I know specifically that's where some of the exposed ones are. There might be others.
Well, the ones I was talking about was definitely closer to the lake, and I know it's a big safety concern, and if you have any physical limitations, that's a pretty hard park to walk around. And I feel like the city has the equipment to clean this place up, but it just needs to be cleaned up and trimmed, like anyone's yard. There's a bunch of dead trees there, and, I would love to just see it in person, and obviously we got a lot of snow on the ground, so maybe now's not the time, but maybe April we can see what we're dealing with, because I personally believe it's the best piece of property the city owns.
Yeah.
But it's also very poorly maintained.
So I think we'll have a chance on chapter 8 to put some really clear desires in the court plan
Yeah.
on how to address Tyranena Park. Some of it, I think the thing we have competing is we've got Sandy Beach and, Tyranena could use an investment.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some money to,
Just some time,
Improve
I
it.
think, you have machines that can clean up, buckthorn and stuff like that.
So I'll put that on the agenda as a reminder next month, but it probably won't be until spring.
But, yeah, and I guess what I want on the field trip to Tyranena Park, for what purpose are we going to this field trip to Tyranena Park? Are we going to, as a board, look at all these different things and take pictures? What is?
My goal is just to make it accessible to walk from one end to the other, just whether that's a gravel path and, some clearing of brush, get rid of the exposed rebar, get rid of anything that's, the dead trees that are hanging over walkways. There's some stuff that is dangerous.
So I guess what I would ask is that for the next time, maybe we get a report from the city to say, this is what we've done. This is what immediacy we went there, we cut these down, boom, and the next plan is. For us as a board to go there, we could go and say, these are some things, other things that we are looking at and would request and make some sort of an assessment and inventory of requests. But I think all this stuff has to be put in so that the city knows what the cost is and what the immediate needs are, and then future state. But I guess what I'm saying is, I don't think right now, in the immediacy, we have to do a field trip to take care of this rebar.
Yeah.
That's the city or somebody goes and says, this is where it is. The field trip then could be at a time where, April or May, where it's more accessible, we could do some of these other things.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But I think our request should be to the city, can you take care of the safety issues? Is that a fair enough request?
Yep.
And then we could get a report of what was done, where the things, and then we could go out there, as I said, citizens, but also as Parks Board people,
Yeah.
go out and look and say, is this safety stuff been taken care of?
Yeah, and well, you might have a hard time finding the rebar in the snow,
No,
obviously.
that's what I'm saying, but at least you, I'm sure, would be happy to go with whoever and say, this is where I saw it.
Yeah,
And, because at least when I was there, it was quite obvious. And
Yeah.
I'm surprised that it hasn't been taken care of.
where I specifically saw it was this part that's very close to the water where you'd have to climb uphill to get away from the water.
Yeah.
And it kind of feels like there's a tripping hazard because you're walking uphill and there's an 8-inch piece of rebar poking straight up.
Okay.
And
Good to know.
It seems like odd.
So going back to Greg's request, if we could say specifically where it is
Okay.
and maybe take pictures of it so people know. And then I think it's also, people like to accomplish things, so they could show it before and after.
So we're
That's
talking
kudos to the
sometime in
city.
spring, once the snow is gone, even to cut the rebar.
Yeah, again,
Okay.
I just think if we put it on the city's to-do list, they can look at it.
Do we need to do anything to do that? No, you've got it, okay.
So thank you, Greg. Thank you for bringing that up.
And I think any other improvement ideas should be a part of our corp discussion. And
Yes.
because I kind of think that's a little bit of even, some of the next agenda items, like the outdoor shower. Well, I mean, some of those are, what do we, our improvement section is chapter 8. So, because some of that takes planning. I don't know what Eric specifically had on for improvements, because I see some of these on the next one I think will be interesting, but what he had specifically noted for any improvements this year in the parks side of things.
Fine, well, because we've been talking about improvements as far as the facilities at Tyranena for 20-some years.
Yeah, I think that's important because there's competing interests at Tyranena too. I know there's a fair number of older people who like that southern section, which has a wonderful collection of trout lilies and an amazing collection of spring ephemerals that you just don't find anywhere else in the city. And so to broaden that and put in paths and stuff, I would speak against that. So I think this is a planning thing, and I think you're right, Tim. Safety first stuff, easy, and then we need to take our time, look around and say, all right, what do we want out of this park?
Yeah.
Also, there were concerns about fishermen going straight down to the lake, and you're getting tremendous erosion,
Yeah.
which is not only bad for safety, but also bad for the lake.
Right. No, I think, let's talk about safety, immediacy stuff, and the rest of it we can talk as a intent and use of the park. Right, so thank you. Thank you, Mary, for bringing that up. So I'm moving on to item number C. Thank you for your eyesight. E, discussion adding water fountains, water bottle fillers to Wallace Park. And now do we have a number? Are we talking 1, 2, 4?
So, well, my wife and I were on a walk, and she was thirsty, and I said, I'm sure there's a water fountain down there, and she walked the building twice. There's no water fountain. It is the biggest sports complex park I think we have. And there is plumbing in there, and I have no idea why there's no water fountain added at all. I mean, there's a lot of kids playing baseball, and I'm sure they're thirsty, and they don't have any money to buy a bottle of water. And I feel like the cost would be so low to put in maybe, 1, 2. One, I think, would be sufficient, but it feels like it would be a pretty easy thing to accomplish if the plumbing's already in place.
I'm reluctant to ever say cost will be low on a project before I've evaluated it. So there's,
Your definition of low.
I'm the idea guy.
Yeah.
there's not, this is not a project that was brought up to me during budget season. I don't believe there's anything specifically earmarked for it. We would likely have to evaluate it for a 2027 project, to be included in our budget process.
And if I'm understanding the request, is that these bottle fillers are the ones that have this, like the eye in them, so that you
Yeah,
go there
you literally put your, because
and it knows when it's,
nearly every kid's walking around with a water bottle
Yeah,
these days, and just less plastic and just an outdoor water fountain, about as simple gets.
yeah, well, simple doesn't mean cheap. And that, I think, goes back to Drake's comment. I think that's something we'll have to get some information on. But yeah, I would guess I also think we'd want to have an idea how many would be best. So cost and how many.
Is there any way to even estimate, like, what one would cost? Would you say,
Probably.
Jay? Okay, do you have anything
Oh,
at the tip of your
tonight?
noodle?
No,
No, okay.
not tonight, no.
Okay.
I'm sure I can come up with it, but I'd have to talk to some people.
Okay.
I
You know-
know they have some at the Dane County Airport. They're there, and they have some at the facilities up there, the ones that are, again, where you have what we'd call a bubbler on
Yeah.
the one side, and then on the other side is where you can put your water bottle in.
Yeah.
So,
Well, there's a bubbler at Bartle's Beach, but that doesn't have the water
Right.
thing. And you see a lot of people filling up their water bottle with the,
Right.
just, underneath the flow of the
right.
bubbler.
So, and that might be
it's
something that,
used
not
there.
just for, Wallace Park, as part of the research, because they, well, a lot of times you can get, a single unit price is X. If you're talking about putting 20 in, price becomes negotiable. So those are things.
The actual cost of the hardware is not what I think will drive cost. It'll be
Right.
installation, where it goes, connection to
Water.
the water main.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
That'll be the
yeah,
kicker.
yeah. But I do agree that they are nice, because you don't, exactly what Mary says, you're not sitting there and the water's going all over and you're waiting for somebody. You just can get it done. So thank you for that. So where are we at with that? We're just gonna, Drake, you're gonna look into the initial costs and,
Yeah, it's gonna take, I wouldn't anticipate it quickly,
yeah,
but I'll get to work on it.
okay. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right,
And
thank
so
you.
once again, when it's on the agenda, it's not like we expect it, but it's more of a tickler so that we don't
Well,
forget.
I do, but these people moderate me some, Drake, so.
I know, I
So
saw
thank
the
you.
agenda come out and I was like, I'm not gonna have answers to all these questions.
Yeah. Well, these are all to-dos for the new person.
Yeah.
That could be one of your questions in the interview. If this is to happen, how would you go about it?
Don't show them the to-do list or
Yeah,
you'll
yeah.
drop.
So thank you that. F, discussion outdoor shower at Bartel's Beach. Now we're talking on the side of the building where you go up there. and-
So basically, this past summer, my son went swimming there, and he got home and immediately showered. And after the shower, it looked like he was in a paintball fight. So whatever gives you those little red marks.
Chiggers or whatever.
Yeah, chiggers, and he had 50 of them. And he showered about 20 minutes after getting out of the water. And we were just kind of surprised that, a public beach is that dirty or whatever it is. And I don't want to obviously get back to cost, but I know there's plumbing at the bathrooms. Whether or not it's possible to install an outdoor shower to just rinse off quick after swimming, is probably a lot more cost effective than cleaning the entire lake. So that's a suggestion. And
I was just experienced this, we were at a beach and they had both a water thing where you could shower off. You could also get your, boots or booties, cleaned off so you weren't tracking sand all over and all that. And so I know where they're installed if somebody
Yeah.
wanted to look at them, but I do think that we're looking at something that would be like maybe 5 or 6 spigots.
I'm thinking like 1 or 2 to be
Okay.
honest, just a quick rinse,
Okay.
and just kind of clean off quick so you don't have those paintball wounds or whatever.
Something else for the new person's to-do list, Drake.
Yeah.
Well, that was in our survey for Sandy Beach, having outdoor showers was, there was a high interest
Yeah.
in people who responded, so I could see this being,
I mean, I've used
I can see
them.
this being utilized, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, a lot of places,
About where you spend your money.
yeah, a lot of places where they have
We don't-
seawater, salt water
Yeah.
to get it off your stuff, but I think it'd be fine for chiggers or whatever. All right, so thank you for that. G, Ice Ambassadors Project on Rock Lake, and this is Jacob, your,
So yeah, quick summary. A couple months ago, I like my wife. Well, actually, throughout time, like when I was a kid, I grew up playing pond hockey. Every year, my wife and I will walk Rock Lake in the winter. There is nobody out there. It's 1,365 acres, and it's just underutilized. And I was like, why can't we? And so I threw this idea on the Lake Mills community page. I was fairly astonished at how many people thought it was a good idea, because that's a great way to get in an argument, is the Lake Mills community page. But like the amount of people that said this is a great idea, why can't we do this? And I did more research, and there's places all over Wisconsin that do it. So the idea is we organize a group of volunteers to just basically go shovel, snow blow, maybe plow with a four-wheeler, to just clear off some ice so that people can skate on the lake. You know, and whether or not that's a small hockey rink size area or a 2.5 mile stretch, you know, I think we're gonna figure out pretty quickly whether or not this is even possible. Because I've never done anything like this before. I have no idea. I don't even have a snowblower anymore, as it just died. I have a shovel.
You got kids.
I got 2 lazy kids. But the goal is to get them like away from their tablets. So far we have, so I started a Facebook page. We have 174 volunteers that are willing to plow, shovel, snow blow. I've had people contact me about how they can financially donate to people out there on the lake. People are willing to bring hot chocolate apparently already. And yeah.
So what is your ask of the Parks Board on this?
There's honestly no ask. I ask that you guys get some skates and come and check it out. There's no requirement or request, because it's the township. So we have nothing to do with it, so.
If I may, the one thing I would be really encouraged is, if you're getting hot chocolate and all that stuff, is to have waste receptacles, because I can just see all plastic crap being tossed into the snow, and then we get it next spring.
Yeah, good call. But the goal is kind of to combine, well, I mean, I don't know if I need anything from the city, because hypothetically, if we were to be able to build a 2.5 mile track, it would have 4 access points: Rock Lake County Park to the boat launch in the township, to Bartels, to Sandy Beach. So there would have to be access through the boat launch. at
Probably
Sandy Beach.
JRLC would be your next stop, then the Joint Rock Lake Committee.
I've contacted them. They've
You have?
yet to get back to me. I contacted the fire department. They said they use fan boats to get out to any incident on the lake. They said there's no requirement for any sort of access trails or anything. They said they can literally just fly like the crow flies to the
Seen it in
scene.
action, yeah.
So they don't need any sort of special thing from us.
I think they're training this week, if you're looking out at the lake.
I think
Are
it's a
they? Good
little,
to note, because I'd be calling.
They're doing
If I saw
ice rescue training this week, yeah.
Oh,
but I don't think we're thick enough just yet.
Yeah, that's the, ice is never safe, but it's,
Yeah, so from what I understand, I've spoken to 3 attorneys and a local judge, and basically everything I can figure out is that the best it was described to me is when a lake freezes over, it basically becomes a state park. There's and the state's policy is no ice is safe ice. You go out there, it's at your own risk. So we're just trying to clear a little path for skating. And by my math, a 2.5 mile track that's roughly 15 feet wide and a hockey-sized rink will take up 6 acres, which is 0.4% of the lake. So there's still 99.6% of the lake for fishermen or other activities. So.
cool.
I'm
You're gonna
excited.
keep us updated.
I
on
will
this
keep
one.
you updated. I'm excited to see how it's gonna go. We might realize this is a terrible idea pretty quickly, or we might find out this is awesome, because places like Lake Shawano, Plymouth, Wisconsin, Eau Claire do things like this every year.
They don't.
Fort Atkinson has a mill
Clintonville
pond.
does it, I think, something like this.
Just one other consideration, Jacob, for that is just, are you familiar with ice boats?
Yeah,
Some sort of warning to them, I don't know, I mean, they should see it, and, some years there is no ice boating season.
yeah. One of the thoughts that someone conveyed to me was like trail marker posts, like snowmobile marker posts.
Yeah, or something like that.
Something like that, to just make sure everyone knows we're out there. But I mean, it's kind of like a multi-use,
Give it away.
yeah, a multi-use trail for if people want to go fat tire biking or just for a walk or whatever. It's open for, I just want to get people outside.
Yeah. Cool.
So I remember I was kind of motivated by, I saw a video of Mary's neighbor out there with a snowblower by himself, just trying to clear a path. And I'm like, if we had 20 of those guys, we could get something done.
No, my dad used to do it below their lake house. He'd go out there,
Yeah.
he'd shovel it himself and make his ice skating rink for him and the kids, and
Yeah.
And other neighbors will come and use it, so.
But maybe like people on the lake will say, oh, I'm willing to hire 5 people to come and clear a spot for my kids or my grandkids or whatever, and,
Good.
maybe we'll get more people out on the lake this winter.
Good, thank you.
Since we're in a public meeting and it's recorded and televised, I just want to make clear it's not a City of Lake Mills activity or event or sponsored by the city. It sounds like a lot of fun, but I just want to make clear it's not a City of Lake Mills.
It's more of an announcement or what I've heard on the emails or requests, so thank you for that. Announcements, any announcements? Number 7.
I believe you have your next meeting scheduled for January 12th. I am out of the office from the 19th until whatever the Monday after the 1st is. So I will be back for the 12th. But as far as getting if there's anything you needed for me to get agendas done or preparation done, I will not have as much time before that meeting.
Okay, thank you for that announcement. The other announcement I have, this is a personal one, I want to announce that I missed it on the Thanksgiving time, but I want to thank all of you for serving on this committee. I've been very thankful to serve with you, and I want to thank Drake for being here and stepping up and giving us information. I very much want to thank David for being here and
That is
editing
true.
this and spending the time that he does on this thing. So that's my announcement. I just want to say, if I miss saying thank you at the Thanksgiving meeting, at the November meeting, I want to say thank you at this last of 2025 for serving. It's been an honor and very much appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll second that, and also to Dave, because for both this and for the ZBA, being able to look at the video, especially in the zoning board of appeals, because it gets pretty legal, and it really helps to write accurate minutes and stuff.
Yeah,
So
and
I
I say
thank
thanks for
you
Dave
that.
and this, so thank you very much for that. Any other announcements? All right, creating next meeting agenda items.
I'll just add, I'll just move all these down that we've talked about now as reminders.
Okay.
So they're on, and then anything else you guys want to add?
Okay, anything else to add for next? I know we got the
Chapter 8.
chapter 8,
And
Edits.
final of chapter 6.
and then final approval of chapter 6, and
And best Christmas wishes to all.
best holiday wishes to all, Kwanzaa, and
Absolutely.
anything else. So, at 7:07, we have adjourned the December 8th meeting. See you on.